All right, I'm Kieran Walsh, and for my mini documentary, I chose the typeface Eurostile, and now I'll talk a bit about its creation and its usage through time and um, things like that. So, to talk first a bit about the typeface in general and its creation. So, it was created in 1962 by Aldo Novarese for the Italian type foundry called Nebbiolo. And so it was kind of the successor. It was inspired by a previous typeface called Microgramma, but it was modified to include not just uppercase letters like the original, but to include lowercase as well. And so, this typeface might look familiar, and it's used, both in kind of corporate branding and in science fiction contexts as well. So to next talk a bit about the style and the characteristics of this typeface. So it is a geometric sans serif typeface, and the X height is high. And so from a stylistic standpoint, the different characters are pretty rectangular and boxy, and they have rounded corners as well. And a different kind of characteristic that's key is that the lowercase t is it has kind of like a hook at the bottom as well. And so as far as kind of like different variations, there are regular variants of different font weights. There's a condensed version, and there is a narrow version as well. So next to kind of, talk through some examples and how it's been used throughout time. As I said, it's pretty prevalent in kind of like science fiction uh, context. So a few examples of that. Here we can see the kind of computer control environment from the movie 2001: Space Odyssey, which came out in the year 1968. Next, we can see it used as the text labels shown here in this screenshot from the movie Back to the Future, which came out in 1985. And I guess a more recent example is in the movie Wall-E, where it's kind of used in, again, like a computing environment case. So, those are kind of like some of the examples in sci-fi and in popular culture throughout time. Next, like I mentioned, it can also be found in corporate branding, and at least in my research in kind of the technology firm space. And so, three examples included here are the word marks for Toshiba, Nokia, and Casio. Um, and a different kind of, local Chicago example of this typeface being used is actually at the metro station in a suburb outside of Chicago called River Forest. I'm not entirely sure kind of the decision to use this typeface for this signage, since I believe it's one of the only, if not the only, metro station that uses this typeface, but figured it was a definitely pertinent case. Um, and lastly, I'd like to just kind of talk a bit about some of the ways that it's changed and kind of like the different variations throughout time. So as I mentioned, Eurostyle is kind of like the successor to a similar typeface called Microgramma, but that typeface was only uppercase, and it came in a total of five variations of different font weights. Um, Eurostyle came next, and it has a total of seven different variations. So it kind of expanded upon microgramma to also include lowercase, and it has the same five font weights as microgramma, as well as a bold condensed variant and a narrow variant called Eurostile Compact. And then lastly, kind of the most recent update is an updated version of the typeface called Eurostyle Next, which was developed by Linotype. And so with that being said, that concludes this mini documentary. Thank you.